One neck injury, two separate ratings, and the gap between getting one and getting both is $776 a month. Most veterans with a wrecked neck get paid for the neck and walk right past the arm the neck is quietly destroying. And there's a second rule stacked on top of that, one that can nearly double this whole thing when both arms go numb. The VA almost never volunteers it, and it hides in a note most raters skim right over.
I'm Erica, and here's the frame for the whole video. Your neck is a joint. The nerve running down your arm is a different thing entirely. Two body parts, two rule books, two ratings. Both things are true.
Today we go deeper on the neck than we ever have, and it all hangs on one rule that turns the numb arm into its own paycheck. Erica, keep me honest on the codes.
Leo here. The word for the numb shooting arm is radiculopathy. Radicula means root. It's the nerve root right where it leaves your neck, getting pinched and firing pain down the arm.
Nova here, and the trap is a paperwork trap, not a medical one. The exam notes the arm. The rating decision pays the neck. The arm just evaporates.
Right, and the fix is one document most people never get told to ask for. A nexus letter, the doctor's note linking the numb arm to the neck injury. Miss it, and the second signature never happens.
If you want the free rating tools and plain language VA guides while we walk this, they live at va.professorerica.com. No sign up, no pitch. The studio chat just pushed the exact question we hear most on this topic straight to the top. Someone asks, "My neck is rated at 20%, but my hand is numb all day. Is that a separate claim or is it already in there?" Short answer, it's separate, and that's the whole video. So hold that 20% in your head, because in a few minutes you'll watch it turn into something a lot bigger. Different body part, different rule book. Let's split them apart.
Two body parts, different tools. Start with what the rater is actually looking at, because that's where the money splits. Here's the anatomy the whole claim turns on. These 7 bones are the cervical spine, your neck, that's the joint. It bends, it grinds, it loses motion, and the VA rates that motion loss under the spine formula.
But watch where the nerve leaves. Right here, the root exits the cord between the bones. Pinch it, and the pain isn't in your neck anymore. It's in your hand.
So think of it like a mortgage with a cosigner. The neck signs its own name, that's the spine rating. But the nerve going down your arm signs a second, totally separate name. One injury, two signatures. Leave the second one blank and the VA only pays the first.
Let me put the two side by side so it's not abstract. Bottom layer, the neck joint, rated under 4.71A. Top layer, the radiating arm, rated under 4.124A. Same injury, two different rulebooks stacked on each other.
And this is the part that should worry you, because it's so easy to lose. You show up, your neck hurts, they rate the neck, you go home. Nobody at that table has a reason to ask about your hand. The arm rating doesn't get denied, it just never.
Hold on, that's not right. The rig doesn't leave that to chance.
It kind of does, and I'll show you the exact line later. The rule says rate it separately. It does not say the rater has to notice. That gap is where the money leaks. Quick gut check before Nova takes us into the arm. Of veterans who have a service-connected neck condition, how many do you think also got the radiating nerve rated? Erica, throw a number.
Honestly, most of them, surely. If your hand's numb, you'd mention it. So 70–80%?
Not close. There's no clean federal count. But every claims group that pulls neck files says the same thing. The nerve is the single most missed add-on on a spine claim. Mentioning it in the exam room is not claiming it, which raises the real question: how does the VA even decide which nerve and how bad? One thing before the next part, and then we move right on. If any of this is clicking, tap that like, hit subscribe, and ring the bell for the next one. It takes a second, it costs nothing, and it helps more than you would think.
How does the VA pick which nerve? Your fingers tell them. Which fingers go numb literally names the root that's pinched. Look at this. This is a dermatome map, the skin territory each nerve root owns. Thumb and index, that's C6. Middle finger, C7. Pinky and ring, that's C8. So a veteran who says my thumb's asleep is handing the raider a diagnosis.
And those roots braid together into the brachial plexus, the cabling that carries the neck's wiring down into the arm. The VA groups it 3 ways: upper, middle, lower. So the codes, 8510 is the upper group, C5 and C6, your shoulder and biceps. 8511 is the middle, C7. 8512 is the lower group, C8 into T1, the small muscles of your hand. Pick the group, then pick how bad.
Then the severity ladder. And this is where money lives. Mild, incomplete paralysis, 20%. Moderate, 40% on your dominant arm. Severe, 50%. And complete paralysis of that arm, 70%, all by itself.
Say the dominant arm part again because that word matters.
Major versus minor. Your dominant arm, your major side, rates higher at every tier. Moderate is 40 on the major arm, 30 on the minor. The VA pays your writing hand more.
Here's where I've watched it go sideways, and it's the same story every time. A veteran, upper group tingling, real weakness gripping a coffee cup. The exam checkbox lands on mild. That was the Georgia guy, I think.
Carolina, wasn't it? Doesn't matter where. What matters is what happened next.
Right, doesn't matter, mild, 20%. But the grip loss and the shooting pain were moderate on the page if anyone read the whole page. The default on a rushed exam is always mild. It's the floor, and it sticks unless the evidence forces it up. My abuela's pau de quejo test. If you can't grip it to pull it apart, that's not mild.
Erica, you've had a hand up since the codes. Go ahead, ask it.
Wait, how does the VA even know which arm is my dominant one?
You tell them, and the exam notes it. Your writing hand is the major arm, and it rates higher at every single tier.
And the reach on all this is bigger than one group. If the whole arm's wiring is gone, that's 8513, all radicular groups, and complete paralysis there is 90% on the major arm. Remember that ceiling? We're coming back to what stacks under it.
So the fingers name the root names the code, and the exam word names the money. $337 a month can ride on one adjective, which means the fight is proving it's not mild.
So it's not mild. Now prove you're even allowed to rate it twice, because a lot of people think stacking a neck and a nerve is double dipping. It isn't, and the rule says so out loud. The spine rating formula has a note attached to it, note 1, and it's the most important sentence in this entire video. It tells the rater what to do with a nerve. Let me show you the actual regulation, not my summary of it. This is 38 CFR 4.71a on the government's own site. Note 1 is right there, and it says to evaluate the nerve abnormalities separately. The rule orders the split. It doesn't just
Stop, read me the actual line. The exact words, not your gloss.
The exact words are, evaluate any associated objective neurologic abnormalities, including but not limited to bowel or bladder impairment, separately, under an appropriate diagnostic code. That's the neck's own rulebook telling the rater to open the nerve's rulebook. That settles it.
So this is the add-on I promised you at the very top. The separate nerve rating isn't a bonus. It's a step 4.71a commands. Amara, we pulled you in for this exact seam. You with us?
I am, and here's the piece people miss. Note 1 is the permission slip, but it does nothing on its own. You still have to file the nerve as its own claimed condition and connect it, and that connection is the nexus.
So if she already has the neck rated, she just loses the back pay for the arm, right, and starts fresh?
No, that's the wrong upshot, and it's a good thing to get right. If the neck's already service-connected, you don't refile the neck. You file a supplemental, Form 2009-95, adding the radiculopathy as secondary. Effective date can reach back to when you raised it. The arm isn't a fresh claim, it's a piece you're owed. But you two see the money side of this more than I do. I'll hand it back for the number, with one flag. If both arms are radiating, ask about the bilateral factor. That's its own animal, and it stacks. Good luck out there.
That flag is the bigger number I hinted at. The bilateral factor, 38 CFR 4.26, adds 10% of your combined arm value before it combines with everything else. One numb arm is money. Two numb arms isn't double, it's more than double. Hold that, because now we finally turn 20% into the real check. $20%? That's the neck check we started with, and by itself it pays $356.66 a month. Now watch what the second signature does to it.
Let me run the real math, because this is the finger map paying off. Neck at 20. Add a moderate upper group arm at 40. And here's the trap, you do not add them. 20 and 40 combine under 4.25. 40 first, that leaves 60% of you healthy. 20% of that 60 is 12. 40 plus 12 is 52, rounds to 50. So the combined rating is 50%.
And 50% veteran alone pays $1,132.90 a month.
So subtract $1,132.90 minus the $356.60 the neck was already paying. The nerve signature by itself adds $776.24 every month.
That's over $9,000 a year for a line you already qualified for the day the exam first noted your...
And that's the small version.
Wait, the small version?
Both arms radiating, now the bilateral factor stacks on, and a severe two-arm case can climb toward that 90% ceiling we flagged earlier. The same neck injury. It just depends how many signatures you actually cash.
$776 a month is decided. So here's the only real fork left, and it's a good faith one. Do you file the nerve claim tonight or wait until you've got the nerve test in hand? Leo Nova, sit with me on this.
File tonight. Yeah, file it. The single most valuable thing on this claim isn't the exam, it's the effective date, and the date is stamped the day you file. Every month you sit waiting for a perfect test is a month the VA never pays.
But file it with what? A bare date and no proof rates.
The supplemental holds the date while the proof catches up. Right, that's my whole point. The date and the proof are two different jobs. Lock the date now with the 2009-95. Name the radiculopathy, name the arm. The EMG shows up later and upgrades the severity. You don't trade one for the other.
Fine, that's real. I'll give you the date.
Nova, then make the case for waiting, because there's a version of this where filing bare actually costs someone. Walk me through it all the way, because I want the person watching to know exactly which camp they're in before they touch that form. What does the bare file get wrong, and who is it wrong for?
It's the same shape I keep seeing in two unrelated places. A rushed file with no objective evidence gets the mild box, 20%, and once that's stamped, moving it up is an appeal, not a claim. The EMG, the nerve conduction study, is what turns mild into moderate on paper. So for someone who's healthy enough that their exam looks normal, filing bare can freeze you at the floor.
Okay, that's the honest cost. Bare file, no evidence, mild floor.
So here's what I'd actually do, and it's not a coin flip. Both of you are right about different halves. If your neck is already service-connected and your arm's been numb for months, the smart play is to file the supplemental tonight to lock the date and get the EMG on the calendar so the severity is proven before the decision. To borrow Nova's line, the finger map tells you which nerve, the nerve study tells them how bad. File to hold the date, test to hold the tier. Nobody has to choose.
And 2 quick oddballs before we close, because people ask, arachnoiditis, inflammation around the nerve roots, it's rare and it's not even in the nerve table. The VA rates it by analogy on whatever residuals it leaves. And Arnold-Chiari malformation, that's a congenital structure question we've handled before. So one line, the structure itself is one thing, but its residuals, the headaches, the neurodeficits, those get rated. Headaches by analogy to the migraine code 8100.
Rare but real, and both come down to the same lesson as the whole video. Walk away with this. Rate the residual, not just the label. The neck is one signature. The arm you're owed is the second. One thing you're walking out with. Go. Quick.
Next time we flip to the low back and sciatica, and wait until you see the stacking rule down there that nobody warns you about.
Then here's what you walk away with tonight. If your neck is rated and your hand is numb, you have $776 a month sitting on a form line nobody filled in, and you're the only one who can go claim it. That's the episode.
Tonight's move. Pull your rating decision letter and read it. If radiculopathy isn't listed as its own line, the arm was never claimed, and that's the supplemental you file this week.
If this put $1 back in your pocket, hit like and subscribe so we can keep these VA rate guides current every single year. And this last one's yours, nobody up here can answer it. Is your neck rated, but your numb, tingling arm never got a rating of its own? Tell us in the comments. That's our time. Go read that decision letter, claim the signature you're owed, and I'll see you in the next one. Hands-on, notes messy, code mostly compiling. That is the path. Take care.
Rating you an 8.7, Michael. Held back a hair because you made it look easy. This is Professor Erica. Thanks for watching and signing off.